Welcome back. In his closing speech for the year 2023, President Hage Geingob reflected on a transformative period marked by resilience, global engagement, and a commitment to prosperity. Designating the year as the year of revival, the president acknowledges the challenges faced from economic downturns and severe droughts to the disruptive impact of COVID-19. Despite these adversities, the nation has navigated turbulent waters and now stands poised for economic revitalization. The president outlines key accomplishments, including extensive town hall consultations, unprecedented press engagement, and strategic international collaborations. From strengthening bilateral ties to positioning Namibia as a model for the green energy transition, the speech captures a vision of a resilient and resurgent Namibia moving towards a positive future. To give us an analysis on the president's speech is political analyst Dr. Marius Kudumo. Doctor, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you very much for having me.
To begin with, Dr. Kudumo, how would you assess the President's emphasis on 2023 as the year of revival and, of course, its significance for Namibia?
Yeah, basically, the year of revival presents the context in which we started the year. Basically, coming from COVID-19 with its impact on jobs, the economy, livelihood. Actually, it's a message of saying, despite these challenges, we have to focus into the future and we need to do better and revive the economy, basically is what it meant. So it provides a context.
In terms of, effective governance, what aspects of the President's commitments and communications stand out to you?
Yeah, basically, effective governance is part of the President's agenda in terms of Harambee, as well as the Constitution. It expects public office bearers to be accountable and transparent in what they are doing. So what happened today, especially at political symbolic level, was important in terms of saying, look, this is what we intended to do, and this is what we have achieved. These are the challenges, although not many have focused on the challenges, which should have been also important. In other words, the Constitution provides already for accountability mechanisms. For example, the State of the Nation address is where the President addressed the nation about the state of the nation. Ministers also, when they are motivating their budgets, they account on the resources that have been provided. And members of public, as public representatives of the Namibian people, when they ask questions to the executive as part of their oversight function, they are actually seeking for accountability. So what happened today is in addition to what is already provided for, and which I think is important because people need to know more what the public representatives that they have elected are doing for them.
Speaking of accountability mechanisms, as you mentioned, what role do the President's town hall consultations and openness to the press play in fostering, transparent governance?
Yeah, look, one of the challenges in governance, especially in Namibia, is the disconnect between the elected and the ordinary people. So the town hall meetings serves actually as connecting to the people and hearing directly from the people what are their concerns and how government is performing. It is important, but it's not enough just to listen. What is more important is what are the actions that follow after we have listened. So it's important to listen. Because if you sit in Windhoek, you don't understand what are really the conditions that people are finding themselves. And you are the policy maker, you are making policies. So town hall meetings, public hearings that Parliament conduct makes them understand what are the issues on the ground.
How does the President's acknowledgement of surviving challenges such as the commodity turndown, of course severe drought, and taking into consideration as well the impact of COVID-19, how does that reflect on the resilience of Namibia?
Yeah, look, Namibia is resilient, but we must not make the mistake that we have come out of COVID. If you look at the economy and the mental state of people as a result of COVID, I don't think we have done enough to understand what has been the impact of COVID, whether it's through survey or research. So it's important for always to understand and reflect on what happened, but let's not be under the illusion that we are through that. In terms of impact on livelihood, on jobs, on people, especially the mental state. What does it mean, the experiences that we had? For example, the way how we buried our loved ones. Have we found closure to that? People who have lost their jobs, they are unemployed, and they are the breadwinners. Have we found closure to that? So it's important to refer to that, but let's not be under the illusion that we have survived. There are still many things to do.
From a political standpoint, Dr. Kudumo, how does the President's call for collective action align with the concept of citizens becoming catalysts for development and for change?
Look, I believe as a person that Namibia has the capabilities to resolve whatever problem we have. But one condition of that is to include everyone in solution seeking, as well as in addressing whatever problem we have. So our nationhood, the drafting of the Constitution, is a process that showed us that we are capable of addressing our problems. But what lacked in many of the interventions of today was the focus on others, non-state actors, than government ministries. Because there are many things that civil society organizations are doing. There are many things that the youth and women in the rural areas, there are many things that conservancies are doing. There are many things that the sheikh dwellers are doing. But in many of what was said today, both by the President as well as many of the ministers, maybe because of lack of time, there was not an acknowledgement of the contributions of non-state actors, meaning that government ministries are continuing to operate in silos, even amongst themselves. But if we want to resolve the developmental issues of Namibia, the knowledge of everyone, the experiences of everyone, the involvement of everyone is critical. So we must not focus on the state alone. We must also focus on non-state actors and how can they bring their expertise and experience to the fore.
Indeed. I'd like to gauge your thoughts, Dr. Kuduma, on Namibia being seen as a model for the green energy transition and the exciting prospects of, oil discovery mentioned in the President's speech.
Yeah, it is seen so, but it's important that the narrative must come from the Namibians. It must not be the others who see us as a model. We must see ourselves as a model. And the President was trying to emphasize that. And I think it's early days already for us to celebrate. There are potential and there are possibilities. But I think we need to work hard until those results have made an impact in the lives of the ordinary people. Then we can start to celebrate. And I think what is important for me and what seems to be missing is what is the plan for the utilization of the resources that we'll get out of this in terms of our development agenda, whether it is education, whether it's infrastructure development, whether it's the rural economy. Where's that plan? And that is critical. Yes, it's important. We are leading, that is a fact, but we must not celebrate already until what we are celebrating have made an impact in the life of people, especially the people in the rural areas and the rural economy.
Yeah, very valid. Considering the President's upcoming engagement at COP28 and the launch of the Critical Raw Materials Club that he also referred to, what implications do you foresee Namibia would have in the context of environmental and economic sustainability?
Yeah, I think, you see, climate change is real. We cannot predict with certainty what the future holds for us, especially for those that are in the agricultural sector and in the rural areas. Therefore, whatever we are deriving or discussing from COP and climate change issues need to be located into how is it going to impact the lives of the ordinary people. I think it's important, we are being recognized, but how do we translate that so that they make an impact in the lives of people? Namibia is a rural economy. The majority of people stays in the rural area, subsistence agriculture. How do we make an impact on them? And you see, one of the things that is critical for me, especially in terms of government, is urgency. Many of the studies that have been done about our public service, whether it's the WASCOM report, whether it's Presidential Commission on Education,
right,
have highlighted this issue of urgency. You see, we are in December, November, we are talking about distribution of food. And we're not talking about, in case it rains and we are seed insecure, what happens?
Right.
That urgency and that planning, for me, is very critical. So the point that I'm trying to get to is, whatever we get from from COP, need to be helping us to transit as well as to change because of the reality that we are facing on the ground.
Dr. Kudumo, it was a pleasure having you with us this evening. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.
That was Dr. Marius Kudumo speaking to us and on the President's closing speech for the year 2023. We'll be right back after the short break with some more conversation. Stay